Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 USA and Canada 4 edition, where transformation begins. By becoming a sponsor at Travel Tech, you'll gain access to an exclusive platform to showcase your brand to a global audience. Here's why you should sponsor our event. Travel Tech provided knowledge to more than 167 countries. Travel Tech is the largest online event in the travel and hospitality industry, reaching the milestone of over 1,500,000 unique impressions in its events, delivering to the world knowledge, free education, inclusion, and effective networking for evolution in the industry, being an excellent means of showcasing your brand. Over 80,000 people attended our live events, generating more than 19,000 hospitality and travel-focused leads. Introducing Travel Tech Academy, a platform offering free courses designed to share valuable knowledge from the best professionals in the travel and hospitality industry. Our mission is to provide inclusive learning opportunities for those who may not have the means to gain qualifications otherwise. With Travel Tech Academy, you'll have access to top-notch resources and insights that can help propel your career in the travel and hospitality sector. Over 3,500 professionals have already taken the course on our platform, acquiring knowledge and improving their professional profile. Many professionals, through Travel Tech Academy courses, have managed to find better job opportunities in the job market. For more information, visit traveltechacademy.com. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions. Brazil and Portugal, taking place between May 23rd and 25th. APAC, happening between July 11th and 13th. LATAM and Spain, taking place between September 12th and 15th. EMEA happening between November 14th and 18th, thus concluding the events of 2023. And to become a sponsor of Travel Tech, get in touch through our website, traveltechspace.com, or by email at geraldo@traveltechspace.com. Travel Tech, what else?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good to have you all back. We're kind of wrapping up what's yet another exciting and great session of Travel Tech USA Canada. This is the 2023 forum. My name is Alex Gomez. I'm the VP of Commercial at Hollybog, and I'm so pleased to be here, invited by Travel Tech, and Vinicius is here today with us on the panel. As you know, Travel Tech is the global leader in travel technology, platform, and educational content for the travel, tech, and hospitality industry, just having launched Travel Tech Academy this year. So we invite you all to come to the space, get to know Travel Tech, and really use all the fantastic content they generate year on year for you, for the industry, right? And we keep on betting and doubling down on our commitment to you, to the hoteliers, to the airlines, to the destinations, to the travel tech companies out there. And I think we need to make it fast and snappy and interesting. So being Thursday and late in some places of the world. So again, welcome everyone. And we have a star lineup today that's going to talk about a lot of like very cool, interesting stuff. I wasn't expecting it. I came with like surprise. So future destinations. How are we going to talk about destinations? I mean, we're coming back to the good old days, it seems, right? How distribution and digital marketing and smart cities through the use of AI will redefine travel. So, not making it super long, let me just go around the panel. Welcome, everyone. And I think you get to introduce your companies for a couple of minutes. And then we go into questions, and hopefully we get a lot of interaction from the audience. So I'm going to start with Xose. Xose, welcome from Boldest. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Alejandro, for the introduction, and of course to Travel Tech for putting together such a fantastic congress. You must be knackered after all these days. So congratulations for it. Yes, so Xose, I'm the co-founder and head of sales for Boldest. We are based in Spain, and we have developed a SaaS to generate maps, interactive maps, and routes. So any of us very easily can create maps and routes that can be embedded, can be integrated on any website, digital campaign, and we can even create simple landing pages very easily. Our clients are mainly DMOs, both medium, small, and also large. We have different types of products for them, but also tour operators, chain of hotels. So although we are a startup only 3 years old, we know very well the business, the trade. And so we are very pleased to be part of this panel. As obviously, artificial intelligence is one of the key topics here. Although I'm not an expert, I've been working in the past for 2 companies, one of them doing quality control for the car industry through vision, and also for another company, for another startup doing product authentication also with artificial intelligence through vision. So always from a B2B perspective. So anyway, it will be a pleasure to be talking to with you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Xose. And let me go around the clock to my right. So Nima from GuestChat, welcome. Hiya.
Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate it. Yeah, glad to be here. I've been in hospitality for 25 years, running 2 hotels, first as an assistant GM, then as a GM, and then finally as an owner and director. I've seen a lot over the last 2.5 decades, a lot of changes from manual to computer systems. And I've had my share of burst pipes and hurricanes and construction and everything from staffing issues. So I've learned a lot. And by the way, I live in a hotel that I mentioned. So I get to see it firsthand and hear all about it. 3 years ago during the pandemic, I decided to make a shift into the hotel technology space and started GuestChat. We develop highly customized chatbots for hotel websites. I get to speak with hotel owners, GMs, and marketing managers around the world. I hear their challenges. We help their guests make informed decisions to book directly with them. So I hope to be able to bring you a unique angle, something that would be able to straddle the line between the reality of daily hotel management and the application of technology. So glad to be here.
Well, thank you very much, Nima. And dare I say, I was also born in a hotel, lived through a hurricane, lived through an earthquake. So we'll take that offline.
There you go.
We can make a competition here and see who actually doesn't get the next seat to the guy that doesn't want to do us, right? So Thank you very much for that, Nima. And then I'm going to go to Wilka. Wilka, good evening.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, Alejandro. Thank you so much for having me. I am Wilka Nascimento, and I am the host of the Leadership Talks podcast. So today, it's so fun to be here because now I'm a guest instead of the interviewer. But, it's definitely very good, time to be in the industry, to talking about AI. And, at the podcast, I bring the best of hospitality leaders also talking about not just leadership, but, how everybody is navigating nowadays. So super excited to be here. And thank you so much to my fellow Brazilian Vinicius.
You're going to be surprised. I was born in Rio. Again, we'll take that offline. So all citizens of the world in this call. But thank you very much for that, Wilka. Then I have the pleasure to introduce Stuart, Executive Vice President at Forbes Travel Guide. Stuart, welcome.
Thank you very kindly, and what an amazing program you put together. And I'm humbled to be part of this wonderful panel as well. It's great to meet everybody out there. I serve as Chief Strategy Innovation Operating Officer for Forbes Travel Guide. We're global in 80 plus countries. We help tourism destinations, hotels, restaurants, spas elevate their service experience. So we're considered in many ways on the B2B side the gold standard when it comes to excellence and hospitality. And myself, my background, I started my career living at a hotel. So when Nima was sharing that, it was my heart. I was traveling as a consultant and most of my career. And then later I served as Microsoft's global executive for travel, hospitality, and transportation. I served JD Power's global travel and hospitality practice leader. In both roles, traveled quite a bit extensively, and then also had the tech startup, worked at what became a unicorn in the customer data space for a company called Amperity, Amperity, which has Wyndham, Alaska Airlines, among others. So I've been across the industry in a lot of different roles and very excited to dig in because there's so much happening in our space and so much opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for giving us all your time, Stuart. And I picked up a couple of things that you just said. I'm going to go back when we do the questions. I'm not going to name any names, but Bing Ads, Microsoft will be potentially in that question. So, and then last but not least, Vinicius, our fearless leader.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. So I have a background, 22 years working on the hospitality and tech industry. I have a degree in engineering that I got in Argentina. So I born in Brazil. I moved to Argentina when I have 6 months year old. My mom is Italian. My dad is from Germany. So when I got my degree, I moved to France, stayed there working for 3 years. After that, I moved to Barcelona. I worked as a director of sales for a Germany holding group. After that, I worked for Vorlin Airlines. Then I moved to Travel Play Camadeus for more than 6 years. Then I worked for Huntusa Travel Group as a director of sales for South America. And in 2012, I found my own company, that is HS LATAM, that we work on digital marketing and with hotels, digital marketing, and focus on grow revenue, direct revenue and indirect revenue for hotels 4 and 5 stars. We were now working in 10 countries and all over America. Also, we found another company that is Feijoo, that is an e-commerce that is not for hotels. And I found Travel Tech in 2019. Travel Tech normally would be a presential event. However, then the pandemic strikes. I lost a lot of investment. We will have Sao Paulo will be the first one, and the second one the same year will be in Barcelona. But then the pandemic strikes, and I wake up on June 13th at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I said, okay, I'm tired of this. I'm getting crazy being closed at my house. And I said, okay, let's go online. We create Travel Tech in 1 month and go to Travel Tech Brazil and Portugal was a success. 30 days before we did, I said, let's go to something bigger and more difficult to do. What is the most difficult to do? Zapac. So we go to Asia Pacific. Was a great session. Then we did Travel Tech, LATAM and Spain, and we finished EMEA. Was amazing. Then we started 2021 with US and Canada. We did again 2022 again, and then we never stop. We have a commitment. We have a commitment with people here. Here is not about race. It's not about gender. It's about educational. It's about knowledge. It's about people. It's about to provide a knowledge for the professionals in our area that maybe don't have budget to have persons, the personalities as we have here, as Stuart, as Wilka, as Nima, as Xose, as Alejandro, that if you need to have those persons live in the show, you need to pay $500 or $1,000. Maybe those people cannot afford that. So I create this to spread consensus on the education, because on our area, that is travel, the tourism, and hospitality, the most important thing is educational content. And after that, in September 2021, I built TravelTechAcademy.com. It's the first academy in the world that has no cost at all. There you can find more than 14 official courses from big companies as Review Pro, Shiji Group, the hotel networks, Sabre, HSY Australia, and a lot of other companies. You can get your degree. However, it's not like the others. You don't pay at all because each of those courses is 2 hours. Normally, we'll pay $500 or more because they're live. After they're live, they're recorded, and the people can go there, subscribe, watch the entire video, and if you do that live on the live sessions, you will be able, after the sessions, still half an hour, where the CEO of Shishi Group or the CEO of the hotel networks or the vice president of Sabre for the B2B on airlines or the hotelier side, that's very difficult to have a master class with those guys because it's going to pay a lot of money. So we do that for free. And after that, having half an hour doing all your questions. And after that, to get a certification, you cannot just watch the video. You need to pass an exam. So till now, you already have more than 4,000 people that subscribe for those courses and 2,000 that get the degree. And the most important for myself is that for those 2,000 people, we received a lot of emails from people that used to be a manager or used to be a receptionist or used to be a travel agent by a fund, that they have degrees on hotelier sides, administrations, economical, marketing, but getting the courses from Travel Tech, they jump for directors of sales, they jump for director of marketing to be managers. So what we're doing is a great, I think, or I assume that is a great job for our side, because what we're doing is inclusion of people and giving them education that cannot offer or pay for that. And what we see is the companies around the world are given some kind of it's like gold for those people, and the companies understand. I just want to remember. I don't want to make I spoke too much sometimes. Sorry, Alejandro. I'll try to stay here. I'm sorry for this. I'm taking too much. But just to finish, my big friend Neil James, that's the CEO of Review Pro, he told me once, Vinny, every time we hire somebody from the industry, the first thing I request to my team to put that person to go and watch the Travel Tech events. They need to go there because Travel Tech events is the only place that you can go and understand who are the players in the market, how the market works, what is the knowledge for all the top persons in the market. So having that kind of comment for me is amazing. Thank you for everybody to be here. Now I'll stop my mouth. Sorry. Thank you, Vale.
That is completely fine. And Bini, it's I'm gonna start the thread with saying that this is all for the betterment of the industry. Having this panel here today is actually worth its weight in gold, because this will be distributed to people that will bring it back to the industry as added value, right? And this is why these things need to continue happening in its different shapes and forms, right? But let me just kind of bring it back to what we want to discuss today, and that's the future of destinations. How will it change? Again, for me, something of like the lost child of the industry, right? So it's nobody pays attention, or they just said, well, destinations will always be there and they will stay there. And we know that's not true. So let me start by saying, if we were going to touch upon marketing and this digital distribution, digital marketing, guest experience, like the latest news with ChatGPT overtaking the world, potentially. It's Xose, let me start with you. So you mentioned that your main clients were DMOs, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very legacy organizations, been there for quite a while. They've seen it all. And now they're confronted with this like Viking horde of technology and AI coming at them, right? So potentially a DMO is being called 7 times a day with a new piece of technology. So how do you think they can cope with it? How do they manage that influx of technology when they were not ready for it? And what would be your suggestions, the boldest, of course, that they need to pick up? What are the tips that you would give a DMO today?
Well, thank you for the question. Yes, we deal with a lot of types of DMOs, and each of them are in a different stage of their digital transformation. Obviously, there are some of them which are very advanced. They've already been through these smart destination policies. Obviously, they've been working already with lots of data, maybe dealing with mobility, sustainability. So a lot of these things, they've already been dealing with it. But a lot of the times, what we, obviously, as we work with all of them, we think also about the medium size and the smaller size, the ones that cannot really cope with all the new things that are happening, and they cannot be lagged behind. There's one good thing about it, that they can be very authentic, and maybe they don't have so many digital assets out there. They keep aside out of this tsunami. But anyway, obviously there are so many things that can make out of AI that there are opportunities for that. So when we deal with this kind of organizations, in this case, regarding the artificial intelligence, we said that they have to start from the beginning, not only with AI, but with the technology. So we always recommend to them that they have to start with a business case. Which is my business case here? What do I want to solve? Instead of starting with the technology, either blockchain, metaverse, or whatever. So no, let's focus on what we really want to solve here. And they're always very basic rules: either reduce costs, increase revenue, or improve your customer experience. And that's the first thing that we have to do. Then obviously see if the AI is can partly solve this, or completely solve this issue. Then obviously the data. Do they have data? Is reliable? Can they get it almost freely, or as cheap as possible, and not biased? I mean, if it's real data. And then of course the solution can be implemented, and can we learn through the process and take it to the next level? I mean, this is the basic, but I think that when everything is such a mess, and this is like the Wild West, let's just start from the beginning. Obviously we're talking about the large companies like Booking or Airbnb. Of course, they know everything about us. With the data, they can do anything. But obviously, with DMOs, and a lot of times when they have visitors that only come once, the information is not so powerful. Why? Because maybe I will not come back in until next 3, 4, 5 years. So obviously there are a lot of possibilities there. So in companies like ourselves, obviously as we know their needs, we're always very focused on the solutions that we really want to implement to them. How can we help them? Obviously, technology companies like ourselves, or any of the ones that we are here, always trying to experiment on the technology, and how can we deploy it. And that's our proposal to them. Obviously with ChatGPT and all of this, there are immediate results that you can get through automation. And maybe at the beginning you can get a competitive advantage of it, but eventually this will not last long, because everybody will reach there. So yes, experiment with it, try to get this quick win, but the crucial part will be exploring the boundaries. It's a big investment, but it's worth doing it because it's a right moment to be in here. So the other part is that we have to remember that ChatGPT is a direct-to-consumer product, and we are in the B2B space. So everybody can jump. It looks like everybody can jump now into artificial intelligence. We are flooded in our LinkedIn feed with all different MVPs and ideas. Most of them, will not last. Obviously, the good ones, they will last, and eventually it will be almost a commodity. So DMOs can benefit from it because the solutions will be there at an affordable price. But we suggest people to experiment, but always with this view. Okay, how can I really improve this, and just take it from there. So this is my first part of the conversation. So I hope that we'll be bringing more and more topics. So this would
completely,
be
Jose. And first of all, for the audience, feel free to post your comments and questions on the comments section, but also to our other esteemed panelists. If you want to comment on whatever we're saying, please feel free to chip in. Jose, I'm a person that used to work with DMOs as well on the data side of things in travel technology. And one of the things that catches my eyes, or like caught my attention the most when I started working with them, is, first of all, you have a very specific type of client that is funded by the rest of that destination, right? So they don't own their own budget technically. They do have some concerns and some constraints when it comes to like budgetary process, and then also about the technology that they can adopt. But my biggest thing is that we still don't see them connected, or sometimes we see them detached from the travel industry. So if we were to ask the audience about travel industry, they would talk about airlines, hotels, potentially you mentioned OTAs, like distribution channels. Most of them will never talk DMO, right?
Yeah,
So why do you think that is?
well, depends on the country. Obviously, we are very biased to Spain and Portugal. So obviously, there are few levels. Whenever there is a competitive market, let's say that some of the areas in the coast where they receive hundreds of thousands of visitors every year, they're really competitive. They have a different point of view. They say, well, actually, this is not only about bringing visitors here, but also making sure that the ecosystem, the travel ecosystem, works together. So they have very close relationships with anybody in the value chain, from hotels, tour operators, everybody. In those cases, they work really well. And even our solution, our interactive maps, they are not only used by DMOs, but also used by the individual operators in the industry. So it's making available tools to everybody. So it makes complete sense. You have a digital asset, and really you're expanding the digital asset and elevating the digital asset, and it makes sense for everybody. So this is so obvious that everybody should be doing these things, not only with our tool, but with any tool. But this is not,
as you said, right? It's ecosystem, right? You're using other things, you're using technology, and potentially I'm going to chat. I'm gonna jump to Nima now, because you mentioned it yourself. You brought up the chat GPT kind of warms up wide open, and I'm gonna take a creative license here. So Nima, I'm gonna shoot quick questions first, then we can elaborate. But chat GPT, yes or nay?
On the fence. Jury's still out. It's a hung jury.
Thank you. So I like the transparency here. We're going on the right path. Chat GPT, enabler or disabler?
Enabler, no doubt.
With that said, basically we say jury's still out. ChatGPT didn't tell you that what you put in there goes in there. It's used by everyone. So big concern, but it's the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
How is that going to affect the guest experience and how we work in the industry? Because like if you ask 10 people, you get 20 different answers, right? So
yeah. So I think I'm gonna stir it up a little here, guys, and make it. You guys tell me what you think. I think there's certain things that ChatGPT, purports to do that already is happening in the chatbot world. Being available 24/7, that's always the case. Multilingual support, that's always been the case. So these things are already things that have been done without ChatGPT. Now, the things that they're purporting that are going to be done and how it's going to affect and enhance hospitality is personalization, right? To be able to have the assistants there so as to, for example, make recommendations for attractions or restaurants or activities, and even go further to make the right offer to the right person at the right time. I mean, that level of AI could seriously improve things for hospitality. And then it basically make it so personalized that it would know, okay, this is what this person is going to prefer, and tailor the assistance in that way. That's one area. The other stuff is sort of assist guests with pre-check-in, which already has been done, room service requests, reducing the time spent waiting online and on hold, that sort of thing. Other than that, it's about hotel operations. And I was just listening to some very interesting stuff that I'll share a little bit later about how things are being automated now. And we were talking about before we started about automation, automating room service orders, automating housekeeping requests. So these are the things that ChatGPT could potentially really shake up. However, here's where I'm going to stir it up here. The problem is, and we're going to talk about this, is it hallucinates. It makes things up. It lies.
It lies.
Yeah,
I'm going to concur 200% with you. I've tried it myself. And on the same question, it's going to give you two different answers. So it's playing probability game, like 50-50, right?
Yeah. And let me tell you, from my perspective, I mean, I talk with hoteliers. I spoke with a hotelier who's now become a friend, and he was talking about, in fact, he posted, and this is the key part for hospitality where I say it's on the fence. He asked ChatGPT about the waters, the beaches, and the lagoon. And ChatGPT said, yeah, there are sharks out the lagoon. There's sharks in the lagoon. Now, can you imagine that, right? And that's why I'm not putting any of our clients at that kind of risk. We'll continue to do it the certain way by, getting the information directly from the hotelier and be able to give that out because that's verified information. This cat is definitely out of the bag. This genie is out of the bottle and it's not going back in. We know that. However, I think with hospitality, where people make decisions as to where to go and people's livelihood and businesses are, and their reputation is there, you cannot play around with that. And we don't do that at GuestChat. That's why we stick with the old fashioned way. Having said that, I'll leave it there because I have some other things to kind of reveal, but I'll leave that for later on in the conversation.
No, we want to go out with a bang, right? And I know Wilka's first, Vinny, so I'll come back to you. So Wilka wanted to say something about this.
Yeah, I think also I love this the guest chat, Nima, because I actually when I was on property, I was testing, for our company to assist with the sales leads, right? When people come in and say, hey, I want to see the event space. So all of this before, I come down and meet the customer was already on my laptop, right? So it's amazing. But also, guest chat in, the AI. I traveled to Chicago maybe 5 years ago. And as soon as I checked in, I got a text message. And I kid you not, I thought it was a person texting me. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, they know that I'm the VIP here. Made my reservations and so on. So I really think, from this side, also in technology, we need to put ourselves as a guest as well, because in the end of the day, right, everybody wants to feel special. Everybody wants to get the right information, get the reservation in that restaurant, requested. So I think, it's so exciting when you're educating the team for the operation side of the hotel, but also it's so important, to get the feedback from the current guests that are actually using it.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get it, right? Bini, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, first of all, you get not a 50-50 answer response for ChatGPT. That's the first thing. That is incorrect. So sorry, Alejandro. Second thing, what they do normally for the question, if you regenerate the question, the only thing ChatGPT does is turn around the semantical. So normally, if the people don't know how to use the prompt, what are going to happen? You're going to have the same response with the some semantical stuff different. It's not just ChatGPT. Jasper for Amazon do the same. Bart from Google are doing the same. I'm just waiting for what Meta and what Apple will bring to the market, because they still do not jump on anything right now. So they're not ready. Most of the market, it's firing people and getting people, just one or two people when they have copywriters to do their job. They're firing massively to get those new tools, and they have no idea what they're doing. Why? Because to use a prompt, I'm a programmer, I'm an engineer. Normally, when I do any prompt, I write as an engineer, as a programmer. So if I want to get a question, I write something like this. Why? A lot of topics, a lot of different questions. Why? Because then I'm going to have a unique answer. And it will be very difficult to any of those guys give us the same answer to somebody else. It's going to be very difficult. And normally, if I get that answer, what I'm going to use it is an inspiration, and I will modify that myself after. Why? First point, if you use single or regular questions, you publish that as a marketing stuff. I'm not talking about communication, but for the marketing, for a destination, if you are a part of the government, or if you are a DMO and you're using that to generate content, your SEO, is going down. Google, Bing, Yahoo, all of them will block you. Or if you have a good, like you have a 10 on your scale, on your SEO on the first or the second page, you go to the 10 or the 50 page. So bye-bye for your SEO that you are working for the last 2 years. That is the first thing that will happen. So people are not thinking and how to use it. It's not that easy as everybody thinks. That is the first point. It's very fancy right now, but most of the it's very fancy. Everybody, oh, this is amazing. It's like metaverse. Metaverse is like metaverse. Metaverse, everybody, oh, metaverse. Everybody, yeah, let's go to metaverse. Right now, Disney, 1 year ago, buy 7,000 people. Go, you are in the street. Ciao to metaverse. They're not doing that anymore. What Meta did, they take the metaverse out. Doesn't exist anymore. They're using metaverse for VR, and for gaming. They forget about where there's constricting. They change it because it's not working. So we have a red line here. So we need to be very constructive and be very accuracy in what we're using those kind of tools. If you are a programmer, if you're using these tools as an inspiration or to get for work, you need to use an inspiration. I see a lot of people, even on LinkedIn, telling people to how to make money on ChatGPT. Okay, some things that they're telling you to do, it's okay, works. Few of them. Like, for example, create your own book for child and put that on Amazon is just to pay. That works, for sure. But then create a business plan for your company or for a startup, come on. No. They can give you like they can inspire you and show you a little bit, but you cannot give that for an AI to do it. You can do that in the next years when the programming going to quantum programming. Not right now, but still binary. That's the difference. That's the only thing I want to say.
As you said, the binary, but the thing is, I think it plays back to what Nima said, which is use it with responsibility. Don't get into the bandwagon of ChatGPT and think that it magically will solve your problems. Because we can say that for every single piece of travel technology component that's been released in the last 20 years. Like, oh, just put the RMS, it will make you more money. No, like it doesn't work that way. If not, we would be far richer people, right? But you mentioned something interesting. You can write books, children's books, and then publish them and sell them on Amazon. Stuart, are we gonna get ChatGPT generated travel guides?
Well, I'd say in spite of us being travel guide, we're also more B2B in helping destinations, industry. I mentioned hotel, restaurants, resorts at sea, elevate excellence. And a lot of that is in training. So when we work with destinations, for example, ChatGPT isn't front and center today. And I'll touch on my point of view on that in a moment, more broadly as just kind of a tech innovator in our industry. But we look at the opportunity for destinations to elevate their presence, their service. You can think about a lot of places where that is. And later on, I would like to touch on social commerce, because I think, you know, as some of the other guests have mentioned, you start outside in. And actually, why don't I'll dig into this now, because I think ChatGPT I can circle back on, but this is here and now. So social commerce, what do I mean by that? Like, we've all gone through that phase of, hey, there are all these influencers. What is this? Oh, this is interesting. Hey, maybe I can market through them. Oh my God, everybody's pinging me, telling me they're famous and wanting free stuff. And wow, I'm inundated. Who needs this crap? I'm done with it. And I'd like to say it's going away, but I'm going to have to apologize and tell you, not only is it not going away, it's getting bigger. Even before ChatGPT came out, a senior vice president at Google let it slip. In the US, 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds, when they were looking for a place to lunch, they weren't going to Google and they weren't using Google Maps. They were going to Instagram and TikTok. And social commerce and video format in particular have scaled so quickly. It took Facebook almost 9 years to reach 1 billion monthly active users. It took TikTok a little over 5. And we all have these devices now, right, in our pockets. What's changing is a lot of the seminal companies, whether you think about Google in the search area, TripAdvisor, Yelp, OpenTable, and I appreciate this varies by country, right? These were companies founded 20, 25 years ago. Your phone had push buttons. Dubai still, I don't mean this disparagingly, was largely undeveloped at that time. The way we went on the internet was through a dial-up into our computers on phone lines in our countries. So the fact is we have all changed, and outside in, consumers, all of us want to find people whose curation we respect and admire, not necessarily the celebrity, just famous for being famous, but people that have a specialty. We also want to know our friends and family and recommendations. But those systems like a TripAdvisor that were innovative, we all know have challenges with them, are so antiquated. And I know a lot of startups working on this. And video, you look at some 65% of people when they were looking for holiday shopping, were looking at video on TikTok and other places first. And Focusrite and Arrival, which is Douglas Quimby, who's very revered, predict that TikTok will surpass Facebook as the place where most people look for experiences, for travel, right? That upper funnel. We partner with a company called Journey, spelled J as in John, E-R as in Robert, N as in Nancy, E as in Ernest. They're people from hospitality that recognized that you need a scale way to get influencers vetted and quantified, and equally important for destinations, for hotels, for airlines, for experience providers and cruises. You need, just like your MarTech stack, to be able to quickly identify, engage, and execute a campaign turnkey. So I think, if you think about this, right, there was a time in hotel or airline or travel where you said, why do I need a website? I've got people at a contact center. People want a human being for that. Well, why do I need an app? I've got a website. Why do I need a mobile app? Or why do I need a chat to be able to, well, I need to be able to text. People need chat bots, right, to be able to provide feedback. You know, why do I need an Instagram account? Why do I need a Facebook campaign? 10 years from now, people will look back and say, social and influencers are a distribution channel, and there needs a scale way for the Adobes and others of this world. We love Journey for our space and travel. I also, just real quick, we talked about ChatGPT, so I'll segue to that briefly. You know, when Google came out, it sucked, right? The first algorithm was terrible. And that's still true about some things about ChatGPT. It will get better. The other thing that's true is Google wasn't a replacement for search. You had vertical search. So you're going to need specialties, GuestChat, areas that have expertise, whether it's ChatGPT or some other chat does it simply because it can, doesn't mean it's the total or right solution. So I think you're going to see a verticalization there. And then also think broadly, if you ChatGPT or Google, your Microsoft AI and Skift, S-K-I-F-T, and put my name in, you'll see 5 years ago in 2017, there's an article where they question Microsoft's future in AI, appropriately so at the time. Nobody cared about Bing. And there's some quotes in there about half of what is in that article that I talked about and Skift cited has come to pass. And I think the other half will, but it's, to everyone's point, it's over a course of time. So to me, the most important opportunities for ChatGPT near term are more productivity. How can this get me in 90 some ideas? Or how can it help contact centers? I think are going to be big ones too. How can I first cut at legal documents and then have my lawyer paid for just the 10% that they need to do for something very standard? So I don't think right now out of the gate, it's still robust, but still early, but it will get better. And I think for clients and DMOs, the question is, what can it do? My wife, don't tell her boss, please, works at a wine purveyor. She saves 20 minutes a day on her Instagram by getting a 95% solution for the wine and the winery she's posting. Then she checks the facts quickly versus trying to generate that each and every day.
And I completely agree, Stuart. And for someone working at a travel tech company that does tours and activities, like it's about the content, it's about video content now, right? So it as you said, depending on the demographics, 60% of search intent happens on TikTok, whether we like it or not. And brand presence for almost all travel assets in TikTok is like zero. Like it's not almost non-existent, right? And also, as we said, like when we talk about the ecosystem, that Vinny knows as well, and you talk to different players and actors, is how you're looking at those distribution channels new, right? What's your presence with like the influencers, how you're engaging them? I think that what is lacking still is that we acknowledge the power of social and the power of social commerce. The experience of booking through social is still very, very poor, right? It's very in its infancy. Nobody has cracked the secret sauce. So when someone gets a piece of sauce, today, right? Today, when someone gets a piece of sauce that makes TikTok completely bookable in a click, then you just hit the gold mine, right? That's how it works. So and potentially,
so it's happened in retail, and I think, and I know many startups work. It's a question: do you think it's 20 years from now, 10 years from now? So I agree, not yet, but I think that's what most people want. I mean, you ask the younger generation, the reason why, social commerce has taken off is because, hey, there I am on Instagram or something, a couple clicks and boom, the thing's at my door. We're not there yet in travel, but to your point, it's one step away. And that is where customers and guests are going to find information, at least from a marketing standpoint, needs to be there. And then to your point, Alejandro, if and when, I think it's when it becomes bookable, they go from being decentralized companies as to decentralized points of sales and distribution. And you need a scale way to do it. So you need to at least be moving where the guests are. Yeah.
And the thing is with tours activities as well, you can generate travel generators or content influencers every single day. Like the addressable market for that is endless. Like you can have created day in, day out, right? As many people in the world. But maybe the segue to that is, if we said that there's little to no brand presence from the travel products, and actually hotels have employees that have their own reflection on social, right? And that translates into social commerce. So Wilka, you dedicate a lot of time into this. So why are not travel products kind of capitalizing on personal branding, influencing on these channels, not only on their own brand, is on the people that represent their own brands as well, right? So I don't ever think that in previous companies, I got someone to say, well, let's talk about your personal branding on social media, because actually it reflects back on us, right?
Absolutely. I love what Stuart said about, the social commerce. And, I am really, really passionate about personal branding because, coming from Brazil as an immigrant in the United States, I decided that I was going to be connected with everybody that I've met in the industry for every single brand that I've worked. And, when the pandemic came, I said, I need to talk to people, just like Nima said, what am I doing? I need to create something, right? So then I came up with the podcast to talk to folks. And, I had no idea that it would expand into, Black excellence episodes, women in hospitality. So it's just ideas that are coming through the industry, because people reach out to me and say, well, we should talk about this. I was like, yeah, we should. Let's do it, right? So for me, the personal branding, using LinkedIn, using, social media, other channels. I'm not a pro yet on TikTok, I must say. I'm a millennial, I'm not, the other generation. But I think people are so interested also to learn about who you are as a person, right? Like I remember that I went to Rio, I was working from home, and it was this very first time that I was able to work from Brazil, visiting my family over the holidays. So I'm talking about this to this day. Christmas is coming, I'm going again. So this is Wilka, right? I'm passionate about being with my family and being home. just like I'm passionate about travel and being out there, sharing a message and highlighting other people, right? Because this is one channel that you can take total advantage to highlight others, and also talk about the same, interests that you have. And fun fact, right? Like I'm sitting here on the panel, I'm the only woman here, and I'm super proud because it's a very stepping stones, that we take, because we need to make sure not just to have women all the time, but also allies, and support. So thank you again, for having me today. And if you guys have doubts about personal branding, please, it works 100%. The other day I had a colleague say, oh, we spend a lot of time. And I'm like, yeah, but you are spending time in reels on Instagram that is not really bringing you any professional feedback, right? So why not share a photo? Hey, like yesterday, I'm like, hey, I'm going to a meeting and bringing somebody Starbucks. How are you guys? So it's like, yeah, when I'm going to a meeting, I want to bring something, I want to make it fun, and I want to make sure that people know that that's okay, right? To share what is your day-to-day look like, because my day in the office looks like one thing. Outside, meeting people in person, it's a different ballgame. So I think all of this excitement and passion of being together again for over a year now, it's definitely out there for us to share with the world. And personal branding for me, it's like bread and butter. I wake up in the morning, have my coffee, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about today, right? But of course, you have to have your focus, right? You want to talk about hospitality, you want to talk about GuestChat, you want to talk about travel. So there's so much for all of us to be involved. But in the end of the day, I guarantee you, if I call Jose tomorrow after this conference and I'm like, Jose, so we were connected, right? I'm coming to Spain. Can you show me around? Can you connect me with somebody from the local DMOs?
Yeah.
That's it. Connection. Yep. Personal brand, it's about the connections. And
we can make this happen, huh? Like
absolutely. Let's make it happen.
After this. So
you're gonna need to present her with the emote now.
If you allow me, I have a question. Obviously, personal branding is obvious that all of us, we are making the most of it, and the more time we invest on it, the better the rewards. But coming back to your comments earlier about the social commerce for travel, obviously I don't understand anything about all that. So I will ask you one question, a couple of questions. Is which type of tickets are you talking about? Which type of budgets are you talking about? Because I know other trades, and a lot of times the social buying is more either if you are a really premium brand where there's a brand equity already there, so there's no questions about it, or the product is very cheap. But a lot of times the mid-market is really difficult. So for which type of expenditure level are you thinking about the social commerce? And maybe the second question would be, if we are going to a younger audience, are they not even more price sensitive? So, well, which are your thoughts about it?
I can share. Yeah. So I think it is for everyone, but to your point, it's very different. And at luxury, it certainly is more premium and luxe. Social commerce, a lot of folks in countries in Europe and, the Americas may be surprised. China has actually been the pioneer and the innovator. There's a company, Pinduoduo, some of you may know. It didn't exist 5 years ago. It's among the 138th most valuable company as of, whatever market valuation X months ago. And they did it without a lot of performance marketing. In fact, very little. What they understood is that when you bring people together socially and they're connecting with friends and family and recommendations, and a lot of the products are like Amazon but they're lower price points. They're things like retail and CPG daily items. Hey, here's a pair of slippers. They're pretty cheap. These are cool. What do you think of this? That dynamic together and that kind of way of creating engagement and connection, the same way my kids, when they're allowed to do gaming online like Fortnite or Minecraft or Roblox, they're talking audio, texting, and playing with each other, even from remote locations. When I was at Microsoft, we knew in areas like Xbox, when people connected together in gaming, they would spend 6 times the time and 4 times the money. I think the approach to your point is very different. If you're at a, let's say, a mid-scale hotel in the middle of the country, the platform Journey that we use for kind of social influencers, where we have a deep partnership, there's still people that have their weddings at Hampton Inn, or pick your brand from Accor, or pick your other brands, that are sharing things about there that are unique, or your experiences. So if you want to look at a company called Hopper, Hopper, this is a company, many people may know this, but a lot may not. The CEO openly said, we're copying what Pinduoduo and the Chinese social commerce players are doing. If you said in 2021, as travel came racing back, what the #1 OTA downloaded in the US would be, most people would say Airbnb, Booking, Expedia, right? VRBO. It was actually Hopper that grew almost 500%. And there is, I think one of the most valuable things people can watch is there's a 20-minute interview from Focusrite, PHOCUSWRIGHT, from November of 22, just this past year, where he talks about their approach. And I think that notion of tapping into the way people, so in hospitality, a great example could be in a loyalty program, people are staying for a wedding block. Well, you could have something where you say, hey, if everybody meets up at the bar, it doesn't have to be an expensive bar for some event, or goes on this experience together, we'll upgrade them to a nicer suite or send them a bottle of champagne. So I think there are a lot of ways where there's a social aspect that's influencer, creator, how I drive to a destination. But there's also this element of how you connect people together to get excited about your destination and tap into it. It doesn't mean Hopper's approach, which is more mass market and lower cost, is right for everybody. But what they've done that nobody else is, because CPG, retail, clothing, those are things we buy every day, right? Every week. But travel is a lower engagement. They figured how to be sticky even when you're not traveling, right? And these companies, if you say, well, that's in China, well, Shein, SHEIN, is now bigger than H&M and Zara. Use similar, same tactics, right? Pinduoduo just launched Temu, TEMU, in the US and countries in Europe, and maybe some in South and Central America. It's the #1 downloaded retail app, competing with Amazon and Walmart. So there's something there about human nature to tap into. How you do it for your own brand, your own destination, your own part of travel is for you to decide, not for me to presume I would know best.
Yeah, but I think, Stuart, and thank you, Jose, for the question, but what's interesting is that, first of all, I think these are all very forward-thinking companies that what are seeing is how I bring travel into more of a lifestyle space rather than those single-use case that we've known for the past 30 to 40, 50 years, right? Or like since the dawn of time. Like that's why people get excited when they see Uber, for example, just putting travel products into ride hailing, right? And you start seeing like frequency of use increasing, so you don't have to be so much mass market, because if you get that consumer 3, 4, 5 times, then it's a different ball game we were talking, right? But I think it all comes down to also thinking ecosystem, because you cannot do this when you're not interconnected. And that all even comes down to destination. So, Vini, you know this space very well. You've been long like me. We don't want to talk about our age, so don't get depressed before the end. But I mean, it is all about as an ecosystem, right? The destination itself, but also all the travel products playing together, right? So if you had to explain that to destinations today, what does destination as an ecosystem mean?
So before I answer that, I will just, as I said before we start, I want to say thank you to Henry Ford. 1st December 1913, he created automation. So the entire industry that we have today needs to be thankful to Henry Ford. If it's not for him, nothing of what we have today will exist. So saying this, ecosystem, when we talk about smart destinations, right now, we are talking about the mobility, the security. However, the DMOs, in my opinion, uh, they have a very huge gap, on my personal opinion. I developed a system for DMOs, myself, my company. However, has been focused uh, on all of that, but on an app and a web app that can tell to people what is going on, what you can do, but as an ecosystem, when the problem with destinations is that you have the hotel here, you have the spa, you have the luxury, you have a hotel that is a corporate leisure, then you have your boutique hotel, then you have a little hotel, you have the scuba diving, then you can ride a bicycles or rent a bicycle, you can rent a car, but everything is you need to find on different websites or you need to go to the monopolies and those smart cities is not thinking on that. They're thinking, okay, let's think in mobility, let's think in helping, but if you're thinking in that, and most of them are thinking in hardware to provide some information. We have several companies that are still selling for DMOs projects based on Bluetooth. That is already for me. It's really old. That is that. If you still keep and selling that, and those that is still buying it, buy it. We have artificial intelligence right now. So right now, a destination is to think as an ecosystem. If you want to move out from Google, from the big companies as Booking, as Expedia, as the big operators, and try to create an ecosystem to provide to your guests a better experience on the destination, to provide a direct booking for the entrepreneur that is not, I don't talk in the biggest entrepreneur. I have the guy that is scuba diving, or it can be a guide that can take you out and show you the city, or taking you as boaters do, that can show you the map, or you can do bicycle, or you can go to run and see some stuff that you don't will find. So you can have that in just one place. And that place, right now, with the artificial intelligence, will help you. Why? Because it will help you for those persons that maybe cannot hear, but they can read. You can walk around, for example, and your cell phone can tell you already, hey, here you have something to do. And they can take you alerts instantaneously. And they can help you. For example, we have to just put it in this, like the Apple Watch. If you have an accident with the latest Apple Watch, I don't use Apple, just the Macintosh here, but all the other things I love Android because it's open to do whatever I want to. I love more Android. Sorry for that. But the Apple Watch, for example, if you have an accident, they will call the ambulance. They will call your something to help you. So the technology here as an ecosystem will help the destination. You can have a web app, you can have an app for the destination, but you need to unify. That will help the hotels. That will help the restaurants get reservations. So right now we have iFood, we have a lot of Rappi and a lot of others that is called, but you can have that for the destination. Then will help you as an ecosystem. You sell everything from there. And for those that is they're micro entrepreneurs, they're not big, that is going to be a social. For them, it's going to be a social and economical help build those web apps. And I'm not seeing people doing that at the end. I just see small companies trying to do that. And all the time they try to do, people don't listen. They just want to listen to the big sharks, and the big sharks, they want to take all the money from you. And they're not thinking, and I'm just trying to write something here from all the technology companies and for all the professionals that right now we have the blockchain and everything. And if you can build everything in blockchains, you can set NFTs and everything for a destination, for example. So we are already in the future. We cannot wait anymore to move forward. We need to think of destinations in an ecosystem, not only to promote, but to sell the entire destination just in one place. Doesn't mean you will compete against the big companies. Yeah, you will be, but if you take 10% out of them, you're gonna help a lot. For example, if we take Airbnb, for example, is one of the unique places. The first one that do this was TripAdvisor, where you can get, for example, the hotel, then you can check a restaurant, and right now you can get reservation and get in spa. That was the first one. The second one was Airbnb, that when you take a house, you can take, for example, your boat, and you can take, I don't know, your scuba diving. So they're selling you experience. Then we now have Holy Bob, have Jason that is they're selling you experience, but they're specific on that. But the destination they can have everything there. And if you take 10% of shark market, that 10% for the entire destination is a lot of money. It's a lot of money that we take in the destination. We'll pay taxes on the destination. And if you don't have government that will steal that money, you can put that money to help the people in that destination and grow educational and grow and all the parts, infrastructure. So maybe the people can see, oh, this German, Italian, Argentinian, Brazilian guy is crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm another journalist. This can be done straight away, and it's very simple to do it right now. It just needs to start.
Benny, thank you very much for that, because I'm not only a firm believer because we share this common notion, but I think it's because 20 years ago or 10 years ago, I remember I started myself working with OTAs, we would blame this on fragmentation, right? And how long-tailed the industry is. We do now have the technology to say fragmentation, at least for me, is not the problem anymore. That's being fixed. Whether you want to fix it or not, it's a different story, right? But you can do that. It's about the convenience and the curation and allowing the consumer, because first of all, the consumer is who drives basically all their tech and business decisions, right? They're the one that you need to satisfy day in, day out. What you were saying about the destination is, as an ecosystem, is that I think the big problem is we're still having like the top layer in the industry. First of all, still thinking siloed, because you think travel as travel, not as lifestyle, not as everything. And I'm going to plead guilty of having moved into Barcelona 7 years ago, and I don't know half of Barcelona. So I feel ashamed of being here and actually not knowing the city myself. And I'm going to start picking like pieces and bits of everyone's, because to Stuart's point, the companies are not trying to reach me and capitalize on the social commerce. And even if I'm doing my own video and posting myself with like Sagrada Familia, nobody picks up on my personal branding and reaches out to me and say, hey, why don't you come here and we'll do an interview in front of Sagrada Familia? And I use that content because it's going to reach 40, 50 million people. Not me, but another big influencer.
So
Wilka will have that one.
Well, yeah, eventually has 100 million, right, Nima? But and then, I mean, even if you want to give convenience, right? It's. I was thinking about Nima saying like the jury's still out on ChatGPT, but I have heard everyone say generative AI for search. But why not making my life easier when I want to build my personal brand and write a review, because it actually talks about my personal brand. But nobody said, well, I'm going to give you 10 minutes back of your life and get ChatGPT to write your review, right? And then enabling the destinations with things like Boldest. And then, again, bringing that together and saying, to your point, Vinny, it's a very big market. It's a lot of money that can be spread around without us having to fight for the breadcrumbs. And ultimately, if we play that way, again, it becomes lifestyle. It becomes recurring use, right?
And let me interrupt you. Let's put this on the field. Let's think in San Diego, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Boston, Houston, Dallas, all those places. Let's think on that. Let's think when they go to any show. Let's say they go to ETB Berlin, they go to another places to promote those cities or those destinations. You go there, you say, okay, I want to do an event there. Who can help me here? Okay, here you have a card. Send an email. Okay, I want to keep it receptive. What are the agencies that I can speak? Okay, so here you have another card on this person. We talk with you, then you send an email. Why? Why? We're in 2023. Why? So when I talk about destinations, smart destinations, when I put that as a destination to sell, I'm also including the event part. I'm including all the agencies. I'm including all the resellers. So, for example, go on the show, you send your rep out there, like a big television. So, you need to connect with everyone. Come on here. Look, you have this big TV here. Put your name here. You just come here. You're gonna open, and then you're gonna have access to login. You have access to all the agencies. You have access of all the hotel events, all the details, contacts, and so you're gonna integrate everybody. I create, for example, that something 8 years ago. I tried to sell in the market, and everybody told me I was like this to say a bad word. I created the first solution for event to sell in hotels, and my idea was to sell in the hotels and then create one site per destinations. Where because every time a corporate wants to do an event, they need to go hotel by hotel or call. I don't remember the associations for events that we have all over the world, but for them it's very complicated. When I showed those for the corporate, I said, "Wow, Vinny, that is great. Is that what you want? That we want?" When I go to the hotels, I said, "Why I want this?" And I explain. No, but for us, I don't need it. But that is the gap. But with that kind of solutions, you can do a revolution. The problem is make people understand. And everything that is new, people are afraid. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. I will lose my job. No, you're not going to lose your job. You're going to have a better, efficient job. You're going to have more leads. You're going to sell more. You're going to increase. You do request if you're making $6,000 in 3 months. You're making the company making 1 million, and you're going to say, "Hey, I make you 1 million per month right now. Huh? Before it was 200,000. I want 10,000 per month. Okay, we're gonna give you that." Then people think different. It's all afraid of the change. Stop being afraid of the change. It's like ChatGPT. I'm gonna lose my job. GPT can do it. No, it cannot do your job. Stop and thinking like that.
You know, I want to
Sorry.
say something about that, if it's okay, Alex. Let me just quickly say something. So I think you're absolutely right, Vinny. I think our industry generally is slow to adopt to technology, as we all know, and they are more of a wait and see. I mean, we experience this all the time, and as you said, the future of hospitality is definitely to be more human when it matters. Not necessarily all the time, but when it matters, the human touch in hospitality will never be replaced by AI. And we already know that, right? Because I mean, for what, 80% of all online travel bookings are made without a human, but that's not where it matters, right? If it mattered there, that's where we would put the humans. But that's the whole idea of AI, is to be able to be a tool to help people get things done faster, take care of the monotonous tasks. And that's really where all this AI is helping, because it allows volume and scale and speed. And so I think that's the real important thing here. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, there's a great example. I mean, all of us, if we're honest, how many of us would get in a 1 mile or 1 kilometer long line at the airport to have a human being print us a ticket and check our bag, right? So removing the frictions, it means the remaining human touch points. So the point, I think a lot of ChatGPT is actually productivity to free the people up to be able to deliver better hospitality. As an investment, real estate for hotels, for example, there's a financial return. We have a labor issue globally of this is not getting as many people generationally involved. So technology will help, right? That's also going to make it more like an airline experience. So the question is where you can use automation to free up so that the human touch points, I think Nima's spot on. I mean, that's where we play at Forbes Travel Guide. And I think from a destination, if you think about in a ChatGPT world and somebody says, I want beautiful beaches in this budget range within this amount of flight distance. Tell me where people are having a great experience and what can I do there? Like that's where you want collectively, even without the AI connecting your tech stacks with your hotels, your experiences, your restaurants, you want your people in the destination to be giving people great experiences. So when somebody discovers that, Portugal is trending huge right now, the way Iceland was before the pandemic. And there's a reason people get excited and they hear Japan was big, right? So you want to get a buzz going on. I think the other part of ChatGPT is it is hugely commoditizing. What I mean by that is, if you're only getting 5 results, it doesn't care whether your tour and activity is coming from the tour provider, Viator, Get Your Guide, TripAdvisor, etc. So you need, as a destination, to make sure everybody in your market is giving a great hospitality experience, because that's what people are going to look for. And the same thing with the hotel. You're going to want to specify your brand or your tour company or your, whatever part of the travel ecosystem, because otherwise all it's going to come back is 3 to 5. The other thing is, I think, and Vinny, this was to your point, is this isn't overnight. When Google rose in online advertising, right, there was print in newspapers and magazines, the mix shifted. But it played out over a decade. So it will shift quickly more to GPT Bard over 5-10 years. But traditional search is still going to be a part of it. So you have time. But these are the things to be in front of. And I think it is about exactly what you said, Nima, about providing a great experience and using technology to remove the frictions and free up capacity and deal with the labor crunch so that the remaining people can focus on your guests.
Yep.
Completely agree, Stuart. And knowing that we're at the bottom of the hour, first, I wanted to thank you all for your time. I think that we can wrap this up with golden knot by saying, at the end of the day, technology has come to enable all partners to work together to finally deliver what we should have been delivering all of these years, which is what the consumer wants. Because at the end of the day, it's about what they want, not what we want to sell them, what they want to buy from us, right? And it's incredible that we're saying this in 2023, but that's hard fact. More so after pandemic, right? Pandemic put the consumer in the driver's seat. It's undeniable. Now it's about us understanding how we can leverage technology and how we can leverage personal branding and other tools to actually get to the point where we can understand them at the personal level and give unique experiences every single time they meet them, right? So with that, thank you very much for everyone. I know that we had a couple of questions. Potentially, we're going to address them outside of the session, Vini. Would you rather do that?
Yeah, we can. I think we answer. We have 3 questions, but all of them we already talked about it.
Yeah.
So you can pass by for all of them. Like this, everybody can say goodbye. I prefer to say goodbye to everyone and thank you all for your precious time. I know all of you. You have a very small time to provide. Thank you so much, Stuart, Wilka, Nima, Xose, Alejandro. I don't know how to say thank you to you, my friend. Thank you so much. Support me. If not, I'll be alone to manage all the Congress. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for all the attendance. Next week, I will pass all the numbers for everybody by mail and also publish this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, all of you are invited to do a Travel Tech Academy in time. And let's see what we can do together and cooperate together for the future. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 USA and Canada 4 edition, where transformation begins. By becoming a sponsor at Travel Tech, you'll gain access to an exclusive platform to showcase your brand to a global audience. Here's why you should sponsor our event. Travel Tech provided knowledge to more than 167 countries. Travel Tech is the largest online event in the travel and hospitality industry, reaching the milestone of over 1,500,000 unique impressions in its events. Delivering to the world knowledge, free education, inclusion, and effective networking for evolution in the industry. Being an excellent means of showcasing your brand. Over 80,000 people attended our live events, generating more than 19,000 hospitality and travel-focused leads. Introducing Travel Tech Academy, a platform offering free courses designed to share valuable knowledge from the best professionals in the travel and hospitality industry. Our mission is to provide inclusive learning opportunities for those who may not have the means to gain qualifications otherwise. With Travel Tech Academy, you'll have access to top-notch resources and insights that can help propel your career in the travel and hospitality sector. Over 3,500 professionals have already taken the course on our platform, acquiring knowledge and improving their professional profile. Many professionals, through Travel Tech Academy courses, have managed to find better job opportunities in the job market. For more information, visit traveltechacademy.com. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions. Brazil and Portugal, taking place between May 23rd and 25th. APAC, happening between July 11th and 13th. LATAM and Spain, taking place between September 12th and 15th.